When I teach, I learn. And just recently I've learned that you can turn your wounds into wisdom. Why am I a youth mentor? That's a good question. Listen, I'm not here claiming to be a role model, because if you put me up on a pedestal, I'd probably let you down somehow. But what I do know is this: the meaning of life is to give life a meaning. I mean, life isn't easy, especially when you're tuned in to the wrong frequency. Quite frequently holding a brush that was dipped in delinquency. But that's exactly why I use every opportunity to tell a mentee, that person was me. I wasn't part of a gang, but I fitted into the infantry. Back then it felt like they were the only people that needed me. And of course I was vulnerable. I know now that I was searching for my social identity, that there were higher risks just because I came from adversity. And I don't know about you, but personally, I call that relatability. And just because we're on the subject of mentorship, we won't sit and assume it's all about gang membership. But I know I form part of an approach that's multifaceted. At school, I was the clever kid before getting distracted and running home from the bullies shouting, "Get him, the bastard." I read somewhere that most perpetrators started out as a victim, and caught myself picturing my stepdad pushing mum in the kitchen. Suppose you can't help who you lived with. But when you want to climb as high as I do, you need a place to rewind to. They tell you to find your foundation, but the past doesn't define you. Kind of contradictory, really. That was part of my history, clearly. Why am I a youth mentor? Well, if somebody can't see where they're going, they can ask someone who's been there before. I'm not a tutor from school or a social worker with a clipboard. But if you can find it in yourself to forgive me for my flaws, I'll tell everyone I speak to, you've got everything to live for. I'll pinch myself when I'm sitting in a staff room, chewing on a sandwich filled with imposter syndrome. Trying to wash my DBS down with a cup of tea, attempting to keep up with the teacher's lingo. When they're asking if the CYP with SEMH and SEND can attend PSHE, I replied, "Okay, sweet." Then I thought, OMG, this is just like slang, except it's not from the streets. I haven't got the degree, but I graduated from a place that's predominantly full of NEETs. Yeah. Not engaged in education, employment or training, but tell that to a young G who's just been given half a nine and a trap line to get on the train with. The best way to predict your future is to create it. But when the disadvantage is blatant, sometimes you have to go back to the basics. What I'm saying is, if nobody told you you can reach for the stars, then why would you even think to start building a spaceship? I'll tell a person I'm matched with, I'll be your biggest advocate, your ally, your counselor. When life's looking rectangular, we can try angles and maybe try looking at adjusting the aperture so we can let more light in. I would say you're in the same predicament I was in, so that kind of means I can begin to empathize with them. Build some trust, a safe place to retreat to. I would ask them, were you hard to reach, or was it hard for them to reach you? I would say that I can see you, standing in a field of vision. Lift your gaze from your shoes so you can make some real decisions filled with optimism. I know you come from conflict and sometimes you feel like throwing a towel in, but I'll be in your corner so you can put another round in. Why am I a youth mentor? Because I know what it feels like to be marginalized, and it was hard even at my age. So I turned towards an alternative and tapped into my potential to turn pain into purpose and mapped it out with a pencil. To show you that you can draw a path even when you've been misled. Walk on a path towards success. And when they tell you to stack those bricks, be the architect instead. You were far from being blessed with your set of circumstances. But your journey has just begun, and life is full of second chances. Why am I a youth mentor? To encourage hope and imagination, to build resilience and wonder, but most of all, to be the person I needed when I was younger.